All right, here we are with parent, teacher, coach, PTO sponsor, uh, mover and shaker, Hattiesburg socialite.
Oh, yeah.
She's got every title ever, and she deserves them. It's Betsy McIntire. Everyone give a round of applause for Betsy McIntire from your homes.
You are
Yes.
very enthusiastic with your title attribution.
I mean, if we're not doing all this for titles, then what are we doing it for? That's how I feel about it. So
Oh yeah, all the teachers are definitely in it for the titles.
yeah, the glory. That's why you got involved.
That's right.
That's why you got involved. Well, how are you, first of all? I think that's important to ask, especially nowadays.
We're good. I mean, my little nest, we've got power and cable and Wi-Fi and food and, a pretty neighborhood to walk around in and animals to keep us entertained. We're fine. It's just waiting to plug on through until we get to the other side of this. What about you?
I'm great. I'm better than I deserve for sure. This is it's definitely a challenging time to be a teacher. Now, I teach drums, so it's fun, but it's certainly not it's not a class that people, it's not required. It's not something where the stakes are really that high. How are you adjusting to teaching your English classes? Because what English classes do you teach, first of all?
Right now, I just teach AP and then humanities. I've taught all the seniors in 12th grade lit, 11th grade lit. Now it's just AP, and I only have one section this year. So, and I usually have two sections of AP. But they're good. They're adapting. They are accustomed to a percentage of their work being independently facilitated, and because it's supposed to be preparation for college, and you don't have a set out schedule of due dates every week in college, and so I tell them what they're supposed to do, and they make the time to do it, and so they've hit the ground running. They're doing fine. And humanities they're going on virtual tours of St. Peter's Basilica and Rome and the Duomo and Florence, and learning about Renaissance architecture, and going into the Sistine Chapel and touring the Vatican. So, thank goodness for technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's what makes this bearable right now.
Agreed. I've never been a FaceTimer, but I'm thankful for it now.
Yeah, I actually, I had a whole thing, I would tell friends where I cannot stand FaceTime. I don't understand people who like to FaceTime, especially in public places. I don't get it at all. And now I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It's something about being able to see, because right now we're hanging out in two totally different places and still getting to have a face-to-face, conversation.
Yes. And I think it's saving everybody being able to do that.
Yeah. Oh man, I tell you what, Zoom is the GOAT. Zoom is being able to speak to all of your students, at once. Mm-hmm. That's whoever invented that, good job.
I wish I'd bought stock in it.
that and toilet paper.
Yeah, that and toilet paper. My mother sent me a screenshot of her iPad, and she was Zooming with 5 other of her friends. I mean, they're all grandmothers in their mid-70s, and it just cracked me up. I was like, good for y'all, man.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, is honestly, I think the main thing I've learned during all this is there's no reason to stay out of touch with people.
No.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's and the excuse that we use as just a society. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said I'm just busy. I'm just busy. and now it's like, I'm still busy, but we could have been Zooming this whole time. I have some friends, we discussed that same thing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I Zoomed with my neighborhood friends the other night, and it was fun, and we laughed. And I feel like that one of the unique aspects of this coronavirus situation is that usually when our country is in a crisis, or a Mississippi with Katrina, or a hurricane, or a tornado, or 9/11, everybody wants to be together. That's kind of how we deal with loss or grief or fear. We congregate, and we can't do that, during the midst of this surreality. So it's nice to have that option, because you do feel less separate.
Yeah. Well, and it's very important for mental health to, for emotional, and I mean, just overall health is very important to be able to speak with other people. That brings me to my next point. Walking around the school, it's the school as a whole has really been, we're always trying to get better and improve, and one thing I really thought was cool that's happened over the break is the signs that went up that you and I know Brian Saffoot at Signs First got them out, but the signs up throughout the school with like motivational sayings and stuff, I gotta say, those are so awesome.
Thank you. I'm really tickled about them. And I guess, as an English teacher, I read so much of what kids are thinking and feeling, especially my seniors have to write an autobiography, and they're supposed to talk about their life from when they can start remembering to now, and inevitably they talk about those middle school and high school years, about how hard it can be, and a lot of times we as adults tend to only think about what a kid is like during school and as a student, and sometimes we don't know or understand everything else that's going on with them, at home or with friends, or just physically, emotionally, whatever. And I just have kind of seen a need, and that's kind of what circles are supposed to be about too, for connection, and for just recognition that just because somebody's smiling doesn't mean that they're happy.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Now that's another, but that brings me to the titles. You started the whole circle stuff, which I think is one of the best ideas we've had at the school in a long time. It's such a great idea. Why don't you, if I try and explain it clearly, I'm not that great at talking. You tell the people how you came up with that. I mean, that's such a great idea.
Gosh, it's not really original to me. I was a teacher at Jackson Prep in Jackson long time ago, and they had a version of it. And when I was actually a student at Millsaps forever ago,
you went to Millsaps?
I went to Millsaps. Yeah.
I went my freshman year. I played soccer there.
I can see that.
Yeah, I love Millsaps. That's one of my favorite places of all time.
It's a great place to go to school. And they had it. It was we were groups of 15 freshmen, and they called it Perspectives. And it was just kind of getting your feet wet and figuring out the way college worked, and having a network, and to meet every week and touch base. And it was really grounding when you felt like you were drifting. And I just feel like there's so much more intense expectation of high school kids today than when we were in high school, with sports and grades and test scores and expectations on social media. And I just, I think that we've lost some platforms for connection that's not through a screen. So anyway, I've tried to I did some research, and tried to put together a program I thought would work at Sacred Heart, and make those kids that do feel like they are alone feel a little bit less alone, and hopefully as the program grows, those connections will get stronger. And I just thought it would be a way to really hopefully kind of shift the climate of our community in a really positive way.
Wow. I have chills. That's awesome.
We'll see. Well, maybe we'll do like a 5-year, kind of examination to see how it's doing. Because I mean, it's not perfect. I know that some, kids don't engage, and I know some faculty members are not necessarily engaging the kids, and nothing, especially in its infant year, is going to be 100% effective. But we got room for growth.
Well, absolutely. And I think that's the theme. That's the vibe I get around the school all the time, is that, well, first of all, for me personally, it's a soft place to land, young adulthood, not really sure, exactly what I want to do, or what I'm doing in general. And then, you have this welcoming place that goes, hey, why don't you try and do what you want to do here?
Right.
And my biggest thing, growing up, like the joke was, if you're Catholic, you're told no, don't do it, or it seems restrictive. But that's like the exact opposite of the vibe I get now, is that, like, there's so many people saying yes, like, let's try, let's put signs up that that might hit somebody who's having a bad day, and go, you know what, it's all right, let's do a circle group and just talk to our students. And the main thing, what I really like, is that students kind of get to figure out that, the teachers are humans too. Like, they were students by definition. To get to being a teacher, you had to be a student at one point.
Right.
And I think there's that huge separation a lot of the time, where, it's, you don't think of, you think of people as their occupation instead of actually being a person, and I think that's so cool that you do the circle stuff to get the circle stuff. I'm so articulate. The circles are just such a great way for as many people as possible to get involved and to really just learn more about each other,
I think it's great too, especially for people at our school that are not in the classroom, like Miss Barbie, who is not able to interact with kids outside of her little office, very much. And she's so awesome and has so much love to give, and warmth and sweetness. And I thought, she needs to be in a place where she can share that with some kids that's not behind her little desk. So it's been opportunistic in those ways too.
Oh yeah, shout out to Barbie, by the way. Man, she's the GOAT. I like her.
She is awesome.
Like, if there's someone in our school that should legally be allowed to text and drive, it's her, because she can multitask like crazy. Like,
Octopus.
I think she could text and drive and eat at the same time, and she shouldn't get in any trouble, because she's fine. She's got it.
I don't know how she does all of it, and it's sweet all the time.
Yeah, I don't I don't know either, but that's another thing too, it's just I'm sure there's a lot of students who just go, okay, well, yeah, Miss Barbie's nice, and that's who I get my ibuprofen from, and they don't think like, oh yeah, like she has, something really valuable to say. The main thing too, I've noticed this with coaching soccer in the past few years, is you have a shared experience where that makes it so much easier to be able to speak to students, like not just players on the soccer team, but then I've become a better person just being a coach and being reminded what it was like to be in high school.
Oh, yeah.
You so far out, each year I'm getting further away from my high school years. So it's harder to remember what it was like. I like to think that I know what's going on, but then you actually listen to students and go, oh, well, yeah, maybe I was a little out of touch there for a while. So that's great that you have that going on.